basically what everything is. I'm pretty sure I probably know when it comes to the pool, but that's the skimmer. That basically hole right there.
Okay.
That's the light. See that hole on the wall right there?
Yeah.
If you always to ever get a pool cleaner, like a Polaris or something like that, that's where it will connect to.
Okay.
That hole right under your foot.
Where?
Oh, it's in the pool. Right?
Oh, a little guy right
yeah.
there.
That's a return line. And you also,
So that's where it pulls it in?
no, that's actually where it pushes it out.
Oh, it pushes it out.
Yeah.
Okay. And we would hook something up to that, like a chemical thing, and set it on the edge of the pool?
No, that is called a Polaris. It's basically an automatic pool cleaner.
Oh, okay.
And that's the line for that.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that's another little return. And all three of these holes in the pool right there is what's bringing the water back into the pool.
Gotcha.
You got two drain panels right here. Those two drain panels and that skimmer is what's sucking the water out from the pool to go to the filter.
Now, are they down low?
Yeah.
Oh, I see him, yeah.
The one that has a leaf on it though, that's why.
Gotcha.
Alrighty, and like I said, this is the light.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you this now, when fall hits, y'all gonna hate this pool to death.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the spot. I'm like, y'all gonna have to skim this twice a day.
This right here is basically a switch for your light.
Okay.
That GFI is going to be real important. Just make sure y'all remember it. Anytime your light is not working, to like come out here and just reset the
Click
GFI.
the little button.
It's real simple.
Okay.
I mean, always there's a breaker back there. I'll show y'all when we go over there. But flip that, and then if it still doesn't turn on, you know it's the GFI. Mainly, 9 times out of 10 is always because the GFI has to be reset.
Gotcha. And this is where it pulls it in, I guess?
Yes. This is actually where the water is going to be sucking into, along with those drains at the bottom. Since y'all have a lot of trees around here, this basket, I suggest checking like in the morning and at night, because a lot of leaves will get trapped in here and it will break that basket once it gets too heavy. So just check it at least twice a day.
Oh, you got a bunch of little frogs around here, too.
Oh, yeah,
Nah, bro, you're gonna die.
Oh,
you're
actually
done.
tadpoles like in there.
Yeah,
They're probably back there now, but
I kind of want to get them out.
see, I can't really put this in because of all the debris that is in there. This
So what do we do with that? Just shop back it out or something like that?
I mean, that eventually gets sucked down into the skimmer. It's basically like concrete that they didn't properly clean out. It's not going to harm anything.
Hang on one sec. My pop's calling me.
No problem.
Hey! Actually, he's talking about something like this. Switch the phone.
Oh, yeah.
For the video? Okay, yeah, sideways. He said this is in 1998. Turn your phone sideways.
Okay.
I'm recording video.
I already recorded most of it vertically.
This is just a little filler head. It screws right in. You can actually see where the screw would go in.
We're down the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It's basically you gotta wait for the debris to clear out so you can put this down flat. I mean, technically you don't really need it. This is actually another way to stop the flow. But also the valve back there is gonna stop the flow. So it's just a way to stop the flow going to the suction, like sucking into the skimmer if you don't feel like walking back there.
Gotcha.
So I would just hold on to that.
Okay.
Alrighty. Any questions?
Yeah. You can keep going with them. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. So, do y'all have any questions about the pool itself? I mean, I'll get on to the chemicals and all that, but as to what anything is, or
No.
yeah, this part is the easy part.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's your pole. That's basically going to be your workout tool for the next 2 weeks, and I'll tell you why. Because this is your brush. You got to brush every inch of this plaster twice a day for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to get tiring, especially since you're going to have to do it in the rain as well. Like, you can't skip a day. So, twice a day for the next 2 weeks. This is going to be your test kit. I'll actually set this over here with the chemicals because I'll just run you through what you got to test for.
And now this is a saltwater system, right?
Yeah, but actually you can't even add salt for the first 30 days.
Gotcha.
So I'll show you what chemicals you can use and when you can use them. This is your rope. I mean, all of y'all are kind of older, so I doubt y'all need to section off.
Right.
This is your manual vacuum hose. I'll show you how to actually connect this into the skimmer. It's so you can vacuum the bottom. And this is going to be your vacuum head. This is hooks that you actually just put on a wall or on a fence, and so you can hang your pole up.
Okay.
And a thermometer. This you can put anywhere. You can put it in a skimmer basket. You can tie it to the rope where the ropes will hook up at, which is these two little holes. That one next to the cleaner line. Or there's one more actually right over this side as well. And that's what's in this box.
All right.
I was to say, yeah, I just got to show y'all everything. I know y'all can easily figure it out, but...
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
All right, you got chemicals right here. And all these chemicals I'm about to pull out, you add to the skimmer. These two are the same thing.
So you put them directly in the basket?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, we'll take the basket out and just shake it into the skimmer.
Oh, okay, okay.
And one more. And this stabilizer. There's 3 chemicals right here. These 3, let me move this. These 3 get added directly into the skimmer. You actually cannot add these until the end of the second week. You can't add none of these chemicals at all. But when it comes to adding them, like I said, you would add a quarter of a bucket when they need to be added directly into the skimmer. I'll show you how to test for that in a minute. These are your lens kits. It's just little caps that will go right over your light. It's only 3 of them. It's red, blue, and green. But you'll just take the little cap and just, like I said, just stick it right on light. They're fragile, so if I was you, I would put them up somewhere because they're just plastic. They will break easily. These are called iron out. You actually add one, what's today, Wednesday? Yeah. One you're going to add next Wednesday, and one you're going to add at the end of the second week. And this is going to bring down the metals in your pool. Because while you're brushing, you're going to stir up the plaster, and that's going to increase the metals and scale in your pool. This is to take it out. This is shock. Basically, you can't use this until the end of the second week, but this is how you're going to sanitize and clean your pool. Well, keep it clear. And you're basically going to use this until you switch over to salt. These are chlorine tabs. These you can use. They're basically the same as this, but basically these are like time released. So they're going to basically like, distribute chlorines but at a slower rate. And these are what you can use because it's not basically a high concentrated form of chlorine. But when it comes to adding these, you basically just take 2 tablets, put them directly into the skimmer. And when they dissolve, just take 2 more and put them into the skimmer. That's how you add these. Do y'all understand like with the tabs?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying, you don't know how many people I run into that don't understand it, so just fill you in.
So it was a week from today.
No, 2 weeks. All these.
No, I meant the shock was, you said next Wednesday for the shock, right?
In 2 weeks. You can't
Oh, in
add
2
shock.
weeks. Okay, okay.
Like, that's why I'm trying to keep these chemicals together, because these are all the chemicals you cannot add for the first 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, okay. The one we can add is the tablets.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is acid, muriatic acid. The way you add this is directly, you just pour it, a gallon, directly into the deep end. I will hold it as far out as you can because it is acid. It's going to stain your concrete and the coping. So make sure you don't let it drip, just pour it all in and try to clean off the bucket if some spills on there. This actually is going to lower pH, and I'll show you how to test for that because you got to actually keep your pH as low as possible. So now we can move on to the test strips. See, you're not going to get a clear read in a day because your water has to circulate for 24 hours. But when it comes to these test strips, you'll basically just stick it in the water, swirl it around, and then lift it up. All the colors, I mean basically all the strips are going to line up to what basically they represent. Free chlorine is going to basically mean tablets and shock. It's probably always going to be low because until the first 2 weeks is up because you're only using tablets.
Right.
total chlorine. Basically, this is going to help you when you start to add the salt. Because, I mean, it's not going to give you a clear reading, but when it's low, it's basically going to tell you when to add salt to your pool. I'm about to say, salt pools have, like, their own test kit for it. People use this just to know when it's low.
Gotcha.
Alkalinity, when it's too high, just add shock to your pool and it's going to bring it down. Even when you're using salt, if it's high, just add shock, it's going to bring it down. And if it's ever, like, basically gone, when it's at 0, that's when you will add the alkalinity increaser, because alkalinity fluctuates. pH, the main thing you're going to be tested for the next 2 weeks. If it's ever anywhere, if you actually look at it, they have okay ranges for everything. If it's ever at 8.4 or even higher, that's when you will add a gallon directly into the deep end. What is this? Total hardness. Now, this actually means calcium. I recommend, they don't bring it out, but I recommend y'all get a calcium decreaser. I mean, calcium is the same weight as alkalinity. If it's too high, you can just add shock and bring it down. But if it stays too high for too long, it will leave a white chalky stain on your towel. So I would get a calcium decreaser just to help bring it down a lot faster.
Gotcha.
And you add all these things to the...
Well, the calcium decreaser, that actually, you can either get it in the same form as this, or you can actually get it in a liquid form where you just walk around your pool and add it. And if you ever go to a store, it could, like I said, it would mean total hardness, or you could just find something that straight up says calcium decreaser. They have 2 names for calcium, don't know why. And that's the same way for cyanuric acid. It's 2 names for one thing. Stabilizer is cyanuric acid.
Gotcha.
If it's ever at 0, that's the only time you will add stabilizer. If it's ever too high, that's not an issue at all. It will, like, if it's too high, it doesn't mean anything. It just means your pool is just have basically an abundance of this chemical. This chemical actually just keeps your pH, keeps your pH and shock or chlorine, which your salt is going to make, in your pool. If it's too high, it's not going to cause any issues to your pool at all. It just means that you basically will not have to add it for a longer period of time.
Gotcha.
So any questions about the test strips? Well, I say there's also
we gotta hold them in for just swish them around real quick, and you'll get the result.
Yeah, I can. You said you want me to do it?
No, I just didn't know how long. If we gotta hold it on
Oh
for
yeah.
30 seconds.
Oh no. Actually, like I said, I can show you. It's not gonna be a clear reading, or like an accurate
like
reading.
that?
Yep. And you will hold it up. You see, chlorine is at 0, but that's just because nothing's in the pool. Total chlorine has a little something, but that's probably just from the plaster. Alkalinity is low. pH is high. Total hardness is low. And cyanuric acid. What the hell is that?
What is that?
I don't know, but I don't like it.
I don't mean
Yo, did you
they just
smack
kinda
that bug?
Yeah.
freaking me
You
out.
got pissed off.
But cyanuric acid is okay. This is not going to be a clear reading because, like I said, your pool has to circulate, but that's simply how you do it. Well, now there's 49 test strips in here because I just used one. But that's basically. Oh yeah, I did say if your pH is high, you use the acid, right?
Right.
Okay. Here's the thing: you only have 4 gallons of acid. Your pH is probably not going to rise too often. I can see it only happen probably like 3 times in the first 2 weeks. But I recommend if you do the acid has a smell to it, so if it ever starts to rain and it's humid out, that odor, well, the fumes are going to like basically choke you out. Some people like to just get the powder form of pH minus, and that will come in a container just like this, and you can just add it to the skimmer. There's no fumes and it's safer to use. So, I mean, if I was you, I would use these chemicals up, but if you notice that your pH is always rising, I would get the powder form, just so you know you're not sitting here choking all day trying to add it.
All right.
Any questions about the chemical?
So,
like I said, when it comes to adding this stuff, if you have, like if you was to use a red Solo cup, you would add 1.5 of a red Solo cup, or like I said, 1/4 of the bucket and just shake it in.
Okay.
so we use the shock if the alkalinity gets too high,
Yeah.
and then we use the acid or the stabilizer if the calcium gets too high.
You use acid only when the pH gets too high. You can add shock to bring down the calcium. But like I said, that's why I recommend getting a calcium decreaser, because if it stays too high too long, it will leave a white chalky stain around your tile or your pool. And I don't know if, I mean, well, let's just say it's hard to get that off, and you basically got to use like a sharp, either a flathead or like one of those little, I don't know what they're called, basically something for like skewering.
Like a scraper.
Basically,
Yeah.
and that will crack your tile. So the goal is to always keep that down. That's why I recommend getting a decreaser. The iron out, I don't know if I told you this. The way you would add this, just literally just open it up and just walk around your pool and pour that. That's all you got to do for that. And you add one next Wednesday and one the following Wednesday.
Okay.
That's all you have to do for that. All these chemicals right here cannot be added for the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And once again, I know people don't like hearing this. You gotta brush twice a day. Rain, heat, whatever, you gotta make sure you brush. I mean, you don't have to, but your plaster will be rough. You could probably scrape your feet and everything at the bottom of your pool. And you'll always have dust at the bottom, so it's good to always brush your pool and get that dust up and smoothing out your plaster.
You guys got brushes?
It's right there.
Oh, this guy. Gotcha.
So, any questions on the chemicals? Alrighty, now
We're good.
we can go get our feet muddy and walk over there to the system. Is that a spider? Right there. I don't know what that is. I don't like it.
You just flicked it on your brother. Yeah, dude, there's all kinds of wildlife around here, man.
Yeah, that's why I stay indoors. I'm not about it. Actually, there was some weird bug over here when I was like testing the breaker, staring at me in the face. That's why I waited up there, not down here. Okay, here's your breakers. They're all labeled. It's pretty simple. Ever a power outage or something like that, first check these and see if they were tripped. They should look how they look now. That's how
Okay.
you know everything is on.
Everything towards the middle.
Yep. This right here is your time clock. This is actually going to turn your motor on and off. Your motor has to run 24/7 for the first 2 weeks. But when the first 2 weeks are up, you can actually set it on a timer as to when you want it to turn on and off. And the way you would do, actually I can set the time for you now. 11:13. And the way you would set this time is basically this silver arrow, basically you want to line up with the time. And you would turn this basically by pulling it out and rotating it to the time. You should know that because if there's a power outage or anything, even for like, it could be 20-30 minutes and it will completely mess up that time on there. And you will have to come out and set it yourself.
Gotcha.
There's two trippers here, on and off tripper. You will put the on one, basically you will unscrew it and push it all the way up on this yellow ring when you want your pool to turn on. And the off one, you will do the same thing when you want it to turn off.
So it's a mechanical thing.
Yeah. It's,
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it's real simple. But that's how that works. And anytime you wanted to turn it off and it's within the time or before the time, you have this switch right here that you can just manually turn it on and turn it off.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Seems simple.
This is the suction side of your motor, of your system. Basically, this is where the two lines where one is going to be the main drain and one is going to be that skimmer. And that's sucking all the water into the pool, bringing it into the filter tank, and this is the return side. This line right here is for that one hole that I set a Polaris switch up to, your cleaner line. That's why the pressure gauge is there. It's for when you have a cleaner, you can track and see when it's time to clean the bag or clean your filters, so your cleaner can run properly. This is the two tiny holes in there, the two wall returns. And that's connected to your salt cell, which is right here. And that's what's going to help. That's what's going to chlorinate your pool. This little spigot right here, this is what you're going to use when your pool overfills. Unless you have a separate pump, you basically just use this. You hook a hose up to it and turn it on, and it'll drain your pool.
Oh, okay.
Anytime you turn your motor off, you want to, there's a little valve back, there's a little like knob back here that you turn. And this is called the air release valve. Anytime you turn your motor off, You basically want to twist this to get the air out of the tank. Wait until it blows water, and then that's it.
Now, what about when it's on the timer?
When it's on the timer, when it's on the timer, that means, you don't want to come out here every day. There's going to be buildup of air. I just tell people, like, every couple days, just come out and bleed it. The air will cycle out itself, but, I always tell people, just bleed it every once in a while, if you don't feel like it.
Okay.
This gauge right here, there's a clean and dirty arrow. When this orange knob basically gets up to dirty, that's when you're gonna have to back wash your filters. And the way you would do that is you would basically hit that switch to turn the pump off, not the breaker, the manual knob on the time clock. And then you will basically open up this drain plug. I'm gonna tell you now, it's gonna get extremely wet back here when you do that. So wear something you're not afraid to get wet. Take that off. You will open this up to help with the flow of water. Then you will take either a 9/16 or a 14 millimeter ratchet, undo this clamp, pull that off, take this lid off. There are 4 cartridges in there. And what you want to do is basically take the 4 cartridges to a water hose and just spray them down. And you basically just spray them until you don't see any debris or dirty water coming out. It should be all clean water. They have little ridges inside the filters, and you want to make sure you get in between each one just to clear out all the debris. I'm gonna tell you now, your first time doing it, your wrist is gonna hurt like crazy, so just be prepared for that. Because at the end of the first week of all that brushing, you wanna actually clean your filters at the end of the first week, and then clean it again at the end of the second week. And that's because all the dust that's in the pool is gonna get trapped on these filters. After the end of the second week, you wanna clean these filters every 3 to 4 weeks, and that's just to extend the life of these filters. So it's good to keep those clean. A lot of times, your filters are brand new, so I'm gonna tell you right now, you may not even see this even get close to dirty. But like I said, it's still good to clean it every 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's basically for that. When it comes to your salt cell, here's your box for that. See, actually, we're gonna come back out in 30 days and add the salt for you, but I still want to run you through it. Your salt cell is real simple. I don't know if you can see it, but it says standby right now. Yeah. That's how you know it's off. The way you turn it on is simply just hit the power button. It's going to say check cell because there's no salt in the pool. But right there where it says check cell, it will say chlorinated. Just as long as you have hit that power button and it's saying chlorinated, it's going to stay on and it's going to be chlorinated. I say only time you really need to check this and turn it off, only time you have to turn it off is at the end of the season. So only time you actually have to check it is if there's power outs.
Gotcha.
As long as that says chlorinating, this thing stays on 24/7.
Alright.
That's real simple. That's about it. And there's actually a dial on here to turn it up and down from 100%. I say the only time you would need to turn that down any lower is if once we add all the salt and you notice you have skin irritation from the salt.
Gotcha.
That's when you will come and drop it down. And you basically will drop it down, wait 24 hours, see when y'all get in the pool. If it irritates you again, drop it down again. And you basically just see what range you're at. But if you do not have sensitive skin, I will leave it at 100%. That's the maximum chlorine output. And yeah.
Alright. It all seems like just a bunch of little simple things to remember, you know what I mean?
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's basically
too complicated.
like this. It's only going to be a little complicated, only because you got to deal with a bunch of different chemicals.
Right.
For the first 30 days. Once you switch to salt, you pretty much won't really have to do much besides just cleaning the pool.
Sweet.
And checking the filters. That's pretty much it.
Right on.
I will say this. When it comes to acid or shock, you have to wait 8 hours before you get into the pool.
Okay.
The shock, if you don't have sensitive skin, you could probably push it to 4 hours if you do not have sensitive skin. Just don't be splashing a bunch of water in your eyes. I would.
Right.
But when it's the acid, do not get in at all for 8 hours. But that's pretty much it. I will say one thing, when it comes to switching, I would always keep a good supply of shock on hand. That's only because at the beginning of each season, for the first week or once you open your pool, you cannot use any salt. You can only use shock and chlorine tabs to clean your pool. So I will always have a bunch of shock on hand. Also, whenever you have a party or anything, you want to add shock into your pool directly afterwards. Even while you're using the salt cell, it's just the salt cell will work, but you want to speed it along basically the cleaning and sanitation process after a party. Besides that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Do y'all have any questions?
So when should we just get started on the scrubbing?
Oh, you can start now if y'all want. Start that workout now. At least you
One in
can
the
knock
morning,
out a
one at
day.
night. You know what I mean? Said twice a day for the next 2 weeks, right?
So after those 2 weeks, should we still bother with the scrubbing?
I mean, you don't have to. I mean, some people do it just because technically it takes 30 days for your plaster to fully cure. The main thing, the reason you're scrubbing for is just to get up that extra plaster dust. So,
That like rough ridges, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cut your feet if you jump.
but I
into
mean,
it.
they say, I mean, here's what I tell people. If you do not want to brush after the 2 weeks and you want to make sure everything is gone, brush it more than 2 times a day. Like I've seen people where they've literally brushed their pool for 2 hours a day for the first week, and the dust was gone, and their pool was smooth as just completely smooth. So the more you brush, the smoother it'll be, and the quicker that dust will come up. So if you feel like brushing after the 2 weeks and the dust has been gone, then by all means keep going. It will smoothen out your pool more, but I say, just so you don't have to, just knock it out in the first 2 weeks. Brush it like crazy in the first 2 weeks. That way, once you're done, the only time you will have to brush your pool is if you see any spot of algae. But, I mean, as long as you're keeping up on the chemicals, there won't be any algae at all. I mean, with this rain, you may see some. That's the only problem. When there's ever is abundance of rain, it dilutes all the chemicals. That's the only time you may see some. But besides that, as long as you're up on the chemicals, no algae will show.
And you don't have to get inside the pool to scrub it, do you?
You don't. I mean, you can go swimming if you want, but you don't have to.
No.
I want to say, actually, technically, if y'all want, y'all actually could go swimming now. Not right now, but like, y'all can go swimming now. But it's like, I mean, well, as long as you don't add acid, y'all can swim whenever y'all want. But I say nothing's going to stop y'all from swimming in it unless you add acid at this point.
And we can add one of those chlorine tabs now.
Yeah, you can. Actually, you want to add 2 at a time.
2 at a time.
I will say this, they do not give you a lot of chemicals to start off with. There's probably like 8 or 9 tablets inside that bucket. So I definitely recommend getting more. I mean, the tablets are only going to take, it's going to take like 2 to 3 days to dissolve. But like I said, once they dissolve, you want to add more directly after. That's the only problem. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
What's this right here? Like all these leaves and stuff. How do we get that out?
Oh, that's another thing. Basically, when you want to actually empty that, turn the pump basket off, and it actually has arrows on how to open it and close it. Hit the pump basket, and take this basket out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez. Well, all this was at the bottom of your skimmer, along with a frog.
Is it dead?
Oh, yeah, he's
Probably dead. I was about to say, yeah, it was a bunch of rocks in there. They probably beat it up. And just put it back on.
All right. So this is the main switch we're using, then, not the breaker
Yeah.
box or anything like that.
Yeah, you want to avoid using the breaker because I don't know why, but apparently your breakers of nowadays can actually, like, you can break the inside switch in it.
Yeah.
So that way your breaker can say it's on, but it's not. So you want to avoid using that. And like I said, once you turn it on or turn it off,
Oh, that's right. That's right.
now you're good to go.
Cool.
I'm gonna say, yeah, it's not hard to like really. Once you get in the groove of everything, it becomes like second nature to you. It's just
Yeah.
that it's a lot always thrown at you at once when you first get a pool. But as long as you keep up on the texture, once you get, like I said, once you get past the first 30 days, it's gonna be like easy.
All right.
Well, besides that, you're good to go.
Cool. Thanks, man.
No problem. Was that all the questions? Any?
No, I think we're good now.
Okay, I
think
just
we're
want
all
to double
set.
check. Now here's the thing. Catalina did give me paperwork to sign. Like I need y'all to sign if y'all want. If you like wanted your parents to sign it, I could just leave it and you could fax it over to like Al's office,
Okay.
and we can send it to Catalina.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, he'd probably want to sign it. Him and my stepmom probably want to sign it and send it over.
Okay.
What is it? Just saying that you came out here?
Basically, well, there's one from Al Company. That one, I mean, anybody can sign.
Yeah, I could sign that one.
But the one from Catalina, they just basically want y'all to sign what we went over and everything. And basically, they're just trying to cover themselves, you know.
Gotcha. All right, we can go through it.
Plus, yeah, Al Pay, well, the one from my company has our fax number on it. So when y'all do want to send it over, y'all have the number.
Gotcha. We could probably run